Right. Thank you so much, Joseph, for talking to us today and telling us about your experience.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about how long you've been a patient. How long have you been a patient?
I came in the end of February.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah.
All right. So it's probably been about 6 months, right?
Yep. 6 months. Maybe a little over six. Yeah.
Mhm. Okay. And what prompted you to come into us?
I do have a history of eating whole food, and I initially was in a school for health coaching,
Mhm.
and they had an emphasis on functional medicine. So I was very familiar with functional medicine and like a holistic approach.
Mhm.
And I've read books on conventional medicine and how that wasn't really working for a lot of people. So when I kind of hit the wall that I hit with my depression, and I saw several counselors, and they just wanted to prescribe me antidepressants, and I always felt like there was another way around it instead of doing the pills. And so just did a quick Google search, and you were on my side of town and functional medicine, so I gave you a call.
Yeah, that's awesome. We're glad that you did. We're glad that you
Yeah.
did. Yes. So some of the symptoms that you were having, I know you mentioned depression was one. Um, and is that something you said you had um, worked with some counselors on that?
Yeah.
And how long had you been experiencing that? And then my other question is, were you having any other symptom or other things that you wanted to work on?
Oh yeah, there were several. I was feeling those symptoms since I want to say August, September.
Okay.
So pretty much through the winter. It was like the winter blues, it felt like.
Okay.
And then that kind of led up to I had a anal fissure, and so every bowel movement I had was very, very painful.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of stress came along with that. So I was going a couple days, and it seemed like some constipation was coming along with that. And
Mm-hmm.
I developed tennis elbow. That was kind of like a minor deal, but I just kind of laid it all out. But the depression was definitely the top one. But that fissure I had was very, very painful, and I wanted to deal with that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I know, that was some of like your subjective experience, some of the symptoms that you were having. And then I know we always do diagnostics when you come in just to kind of get a better understanding
Yeah.
about what's contributing or what are some underlying things that are happening. And we saw that there was some imbalances in your endocrine system. Your adrenals were pretty fatigued. They were in
Mm-hmm.
an exhaustion stage of fatigue. Um, yes, and then there were some deficiencies. You had some deficiencies like zinc deficiency and folic acid deficiency. Definitely needed magnesium. We definitely need knowing your history with irregularity, like constipation with elimination. We definitely needed to work on the gut. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
we definitely found that you had some blood sugar handling issues. I would categorize it as like reactive hypoglycemia, and so that's definitely known one of the number one contributing things that can contribute to depression. Um, so you definitely had that present. We definitely needed to work on the gut. Definitely those two things are kind of textbook for contributing to both depression and anxiety, kind of
Mm-hmm.
to do that. And so we just took an approach to work on all those things. And where would you say you are now?
Oh, I feel like 10 times better. I've been telling people, because I'm only 30, which I know isn't too old, but I was starting to feel the effects of being past 25, and I didn't feel like that was right. I was like, 30 is still relatively young.
Yeah,
And I honestly feel like I did when I was like 22, 23 now.
awesome, awesome, good, good. Yeah, I think a lot of times, we kind of, like you said, chalk up how we're feeling to age. Um,
Mm-hmm.
time is definitely a factor, but it's like all about what we're doing with that time.
Yeah.
And like you said, like if you're under a lot of stress or maybe you're not eating in a way to support that's not always like a lot of times eating habits, especially in the United States, I feel like a lot of times they're secondary to other stuff that we have going on. And have the time to prioritize what we're eating and when we're eating and how we're eating. And the cumulative has an effect on that. But so you're doing so much better, which is awesome.
Yeah.
I know on one of the questionnaires that we use, it gives us like a health rating. And your initial questionnaire, you were like at a 46% health rating. And then the one that you did, even just 3 months in, you were at in the 80 percentile health rating, which was like significant improvement. And that a lot of that credit goes to you, because yes, I'm here to evaluate you and kind of tell you some of the stuff that we see, and then come up with a plan to work on those things. But then you have to do those things, right?
Yeah.
You've been a great patient, and you did exactly what I recommended. And in my opinion, that has everything to do with why you saw results so quickly. Yeah, so you did awesome with that. So would you say that this experience was, if somebody asked you about this experience, would you say, what would you say to them? Did you think it was challenging or difficult in any way?
When it came to the supplements, that was kind of a hurdle I had to jump through, because that's something I was never really used to consistently doing. Taking a break from coffee too was kind of a tough one, but once you form a habit, I think, it takes about 3 weeks to form a habit. It got a lot easier.
Got a lot easier.
Yeah. And then the results that you get from it just fuel the fire to keep going. So yeah. I carry my little tote bag of supplements now, even though I travel a lot. I always have those with me on hand.
Yeah. And I mean, a lot of it was the diet too. We talked about like what to do with your diet, because I think one of the cause you do a very physically demanding job, and you burn a lot of calories. And one of the things we saw is that you just were not eating enough.
Yeah.
And that was one of the reasons you were so exhausted. And some of it was like you were eating kind of, later in the day, but really you needed to be eating kind of throughout the day to really support the energy that you were expending. And keep that blood sugar stable. That was a big one for you. So, but yeah, you're right. Like a lot of people who are not used to taking supplements, sometimes that's something new for them. And you just, like you said, you just have to create a new habit. But once you see the benefits, then it makes sense and it's worth it, and you understand the value. So that's awesome. That is incredible. So you did great. And do you feel like, are you suffering from any kind of depression or any of the things that you originally came in with?
No, I haven't been for the most part. Just trying to think. I mean, I get fatigued, but that's just because the job I'm doing is very physically demanding. So just learning to rest.
Yes.
I've been resting when the time calls for it, and just listening to my body when it's telling me.
Good. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's great. Well, great. Well, I appreciate it. Is there anything else that you want to mention about your experience that you had during
Yeah, I really appreciate how hands-on you are with me, and I just knew like right from our first meeting that you were serious and that you cared. Because I think the average for a conventional doctor is like 8 to 10 minutes with their patient, and I think you spent the first appointment with me like a couple hours just talking with me. And then just how available you are, whether by phone call or emails, meant a lot. And so it just showed how much you cared and how much you wanted me to get better.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And that's the thing. I feel like, I'm supposed to be here to help guide you. Initially when we go through all the diagnostics and we talk about all the areas that we need to support, I want to support you in that journey, because you're going to go through change, and I want to understand that. And sometimes we need to make adjustments to, the diet or the nutrition that you're taking. Sometimes we need to make adjustments to that. So I appreciate you communicating with me, because that's where we're going to get the results, because it's a partnership very much.
Yeah.
So awesome. Well, I'm so glad that you came in, and I'm glad that we have the relationship that we do. And thank you for that.
Yeah, thank you. And I can't wait to get back and get started again whenever I get back from Switzerland.
Yeah,
Yeah.
awesome. Very exciting for you.